Well, good morning, everyone. It is Sunday. Oh my gosh. Yesterday, I got to go pick up my new glasses, and these are going to take some getting used to. They are making me seasick. I have never used progressive lenses before, and this is really, really strange. So, yeah, I hope they work out because this is like, it's making me sick. Anyways, they look fancy. I can't look side to side. So I actually got two pairs because I would not let them do full progressive, like for distance and mid-range and close-up. Because if I have to wear them when I drive, which, it's not on my license, but it's nice to see where you're going. I don't want to feel seasick, motion sickness because of the glasses, because you have to like aim with your head. You don't like roll your eyes to look at something. Like, there is no side eye in these. So I got two pairs. These are for close-up and mid-range. Mid-range seems to be okay, but I'm going to try to crochet with them today. I don't know if it's going to work for me. But yeah, I'm feeling a little upset to my stomach at the moment. If not, I'll take them back and tell them, just give me close-up. Give me 3 pairs of glasses. I don't know. We'll see. I have to give it a chance first. So anyways, what did we crochet? Well, don't do that. We did a few things. I actually have this big pile right here. It's not a lot of different patterns, which I'm sure some of y'all are saying hip hip hooray, but it is some of them, it's a lot of the same pattern. So let's start off with the pattern test that I did. It was actually a pre-test, so there have been changes made to the pattern since I made the pattern, and they're changes for the better. I don't remember the name. It's a horse. It is part of Stacy's Fancy Pants series that she is doing. I believe it was released yesterday, and it's on sale this weekend for 25% off. She did the horse, a donkey, and a unicorn. I chose the horse. You can do them in overalls, you can do them in a dress, or they can be naked. There's accessories that go with it. Like, I just chose to do the bridle, but there's like bandana, there's a bow if you do the girl. They're really cute. So, and I like the overalls. I like the critters in the overalls. So I used chenille brights and a 6mm hook, and I believe these are 18mm eyes. They might be 20s, don't quote me. So this is mushroom or sand, caramel, chocolate, and denim. It does have a little tail. Trying to think. It was really easy to do. So I want to try the donkey. And probably the unicorn. But I went with the horse because, little girls love horses. Well, they love unicorns too, but little girls love horses. So we did a horse. So Stacy has her pattern available now, and from what I understand, she's working on some more. So, Harry, something like that. Yeah, he's cute. So we did that one. That was that was done last week, but I didn't share it because she wasn't ready yet. But she's ready now. So the first thing, oh my goodness, these glasses. The first thing that I made, and I'm going to have to go and get them adjusted. They want to slide off my face. The first thing that I made is, I finished up the plant pattern that I started last week. There were 5 different hanging plants, and there were 2 that I did not get to. So I did this one first. And Parfait Chunky, String of Pearls, I think this one is called. And this is the new pistachio green, and I'm not sure. I think this one is haze. And then I used chocolate for the dirt. So I really like the look of the foliage on this, but it does take time. So this is probably one I'll make again, but I won't make a lot of them because it does take a lot of time. And then in my live Friday, I attempted the 5th one. We did okay with the pot, but then when it came to the foliage, we got a little lost, and I jumped my round, and I had to go back because I had a big hole in the middle. Now, neither one of these has the exact amount of, I guess you'd call them shoots, branches. Neither one of them have the exact amount because the pot is so small and the plant was coming out so big. I'm like, that's plenty. It looks good like it is. So this one is the Kiwi Lime and Azure, A-Z-U-R-E, and again, Parfait Chunky. And we're going to display these with our car hangers. And that pattern is by Minnie's Crochet Friends. It's a nice pattern. But while I was doing that, I wanted to see if I don't add the string or rope, whatever you want to call it, and how big would it come out if I used like Bernat or the Brights to make it like a desk buddy. Well, it was still kind of small. I wanted it a little bigger. So I increased the pot to 30. Still did the reverse single crochet along the edge, which I have been told that is the crab stitch. It's very awkward, but it is very pretty and it's nice and sturdy. And then I chose to do the agave plant version, and I used Mystical for that. So increasing it to 30 and using the Brights made it a really nice size. So I have one of these. I might do some more. I don't know. I have other things I need to get done before Friday. I mean, well, that I want to get done. I don't need to get done. But that was just me modifying Minnie's Crochet Friends pattern to, you know, do what I want. And then, let me get my paper situated here. Okay. So I was watching actually a couple of YouTubers, and it inspired me to play with a couple of these patterns. So I'm just straightening this out here. Okay, so I was watching probably Heather and a few others on the spiders. So we all know that spiders are not my favorite creature on this planet. They kind of freak me out a little bit. But even John started in on me. You need to make some spiders. We can hang them from the canopy. So he does help. So I gotta let him have a tiny little bit of input. I said, all right, I'll make some spiders. So I started using the jumping spider pattern from Handmade by Nickel. And this was the first one. And I did it out of bright variegated. And instead of regular white, I have a tiny little ball of the antique white left over, and that's what the fangs got made out of. But mine seem so small compared to everyone else's that I see. And I know I do yarn under, but I did these in yarn over. I did these in yarn over to see if that is the reason why I wasn't liking the shape and I felt like it was small. And that wasn't it. So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to add an extra round to this butt section and see if that makes it look better to me. So that is what I did. You can see there's one extra round and it gives it a slightly elongated shape there. And the fluff, I like it a little bit better. So, and they are fast. They are creepy, and I got to stop moving my head like that. They are fast and they are creepy. So I have these two. And I did a chocolate brown and a dark purple. And then I messaged Heather and I'm like, I'm making these awful spiders, but I don't know what colors to use. So she's like, oh, the variegated sells good, frosting, mystical. She's throwing all these things out here. Well, not knowing if these sell for me, just because they sell good for someone else doesn't mean they'll sell good for me. I didn't want to use my mystical, so I broke out the variegated from the Chenille Brights, and we made this one. And this one. Actually, I think this one is tie-dye, and this one is tie-dye. Whoops. And I think this one is tie-dye. And this one is variegated. So I'm making these, and that gives me 8 spiders, right? So I line them all up and take a cute little picture, and one of the other people that's been after me to make spiders, I send it to her. And she's like, okay, well, now you have to make another one. You have to do one in pink. I'm like, oh my goodness. And this person would be Mary. She says, everything in pink sells. So I'm like, all right, I'll make another one. Well, I couldn't decide what color pink. So I made 2 more. And we will see what happens. But the idea is to run a string. Oh, do I have a string here that I can use? Oh, probably not. Wait a minute. Let's see if we can do this on the fly. I just happen to have a yarn needle here. Okay, so the idea is to hang them from their bums from on the canopy. And that's what John wants to do to display them. Not all of them. I don't want to do all of them like that, but certainly we could hang up a few of them and have some on the table, because, see, that's just a lot more work. Not that I'm trying to be lazy or anything, but setting up in this heat is a lot of work. So We have 10 icky spiders, 10 of them. This was torture. So that was 40 eyes that I went through just making these. And I had to place another eye order because I just about used all my 12s and 14s doing that. So then I had mentioned that I was looking for a pug pattern, and I kind of found one. I've had a couple of people send me links to ones. And I don't know, I just have this idea in my head, and I haven't really been able to find what I have in mind. And I hope it's not one of those where I'm going to have to sit there and try and figure out how to do it. I don't want to think. I just want to read somebody's pattern and make it. But I came across these pug puppy patterns, and they are adorable. Even though it's not what I had in mind, they are freaking adorable. So this first one, I need to remake his bow because I came up with a different way to do it afterwards. So I want to redo the bow. Technically, you could just tie ribbon around its neck, but I didn't have any, so I crocheted one. But I need to redo the bow. So this one was my first one. And I always want to call this oatmeal, but it's steel cut oats. Don't ask me why I want to call it oatmeal. Steel cut oats and black. This was very stiff and thick. So I made a few mistakes on this. I'm not going to point them out because nobody will know unless I tell them. But there are a couple of mistakes on here. So I wanted to try it again because I think, look at it. Just look. It's got the cutest little face. So I wanted to try it again after, I did the first one. And then I was like, oh, let me ask the Google machine, what is the coloring for pugs? And they said, like this. They can be all black. They could be silver. So I was like, oh, let's do a silver. Well, I don't really have silver. And I know gray could pass for silver. But the way the pictures of the real pugs looked, I thought frosting would be better. So I used Heather's favorite frosting color and black. And this is the way I like the bows now, just doing a chain. And so I'm going to redo the one on the other one. This one went so much easier. Now I used a little bit bigger eyes. And they're brown. And I did a little bit bigger nose, which I'm almost out of noses, so I have to order noses. Ugh. It's always something. So this was using the size that the pattern called for on the eyes, but I kind of like the bigger ones on it. You won't hear me say that very often. So I did those, and I think they're both adorable, other than that bow. But I think they're both adorable, and they came out pretty much the same size. I think maybe this one went a little wider, like I could get more stuffing in it because, Bernat versus Brights. And then last night, now this is the last thing that I made, but I'm going to show you because it goes with this, and then I have a few other things to show you. But last night, I was like, you know what? I think I need to make a pink pug. Because some lady told me that anything made in pink sells. So I did a pink one, pink and gray. So it was like dark pink, light pink, pink and brown, pink and gray. And I lined up all the colors next to the pink, and I thought the gray looked best with it. And I think it looks great. So I didn't have any more brown eyes. So gold was the closest thing to brown. And the little nose. So I don't know. These are cute. They are really cute. And they are no-sew, which is nice. You surface crochet the ear, and when you do the muzzle, you come back and you do a little, I think it's 7 stitches of single crochet on this part to, you know, give it that little pug look. And everything else is crocheted in. So they're fairly quick, especially once you get used to what you're doing. You know, mark the stitches for where the ears go. You could mark these stitches if you want, at least the first and the last, so that you know where your little ridge is going to go. But these are really cute. Like I said, though, still not what I had in mind for a pug, but these will do for now. They are very cute, and they don't take a lot of time. And that pattern is by Home and Heart by Eva. And I did the chenille brights and the one out of the Bernat frosting. So then the other thing that I had my eye on, because of Christine from What's Up Cupcake, she did this beautiful sunflower, and it was huge. And it was out of plush yarn. You didn't have to use acrylic or cotton. And I just thought it was just absolutely beautiful. So I saved the pattern to my list. And once I figured out, okay, I really want to make it, because I had I buy a lot of patterns, so I can't just on a whim. I have to think about them a little bit. Is it something I really want? Because if I just impulse buy, I'll have a million patterns in no time and be homeless because I won't be able to pay my bills. So I bought the pattern, and I ordered some dowel rods off of Amazon because, of course, for me, local, they have nothing. And yeah, so I ordered the dowel rods off of Amazon, and then I started to pick colors, and I wanted to use the colors that the pattern called for because it was just so pretty. Well, of course, I didn't have them. Looking at the picture, I thought maybe I might have them, but when I gathered those colors together, it did not look right to me. So I just kind of winged it with my own colors. I did it out of brights. This has a dowel. I did add a little stuffing in it as I was putting, had the dowel hanging out of it as I was crocheting around it. And I would add a little stuffing as I go. And I did only put 1 leaf. It calls for 2, but I just stuck with 1. And we did chocolate. I think chenille calls this one lemon, rust, and the sage green. But oh my gosh, they are just gorgeous. I love these. So after I got my fix of making this one, I moved on to a different pattern. But then yesterday, I went back and did another one. And this time, I did different colors, kind of. A couple of colors. I put, with the brights, rust. No, this is Bernat. And I don't remember what the color is. The middle is Bernat. This is the lemon from Brights. This is burnt mustard from Bernat. And the sage green out of the Brights. Now this one I did not add the stuffing in with the dowel. My only complaint about the pattern is they tell you to use a dowel, but they tell you how long, but they don't tell you how wide. So I was guessing when I ordered. Now, holding the 2 of them at the same time, I do like it with a little bit of stuffing added in with the dowel. So that means I'd have to have it hanging out of it as I crochet around it. It just feels more comfortable in the hand. but I would think these are something that you're just going to put on display and you're not going to play with. But I really enjoyed them. It's a well-written pattern, and they are so pretty. Now, if I had, let's see, I would probably do the chocolate with the lemon with the burnt mustard. But, you know, we just make do with the colors that we have, so we don't have to buy more because we're running out of room. So those were very fun to make. And like I said, I had to think a little bit about the pattern, but I pulled the trigger and did it. I did it. Then I did one other thing. I bought another pattern. Oh, I bought 3 patterns since Wednesday. I don't have much in the way of dinosaurs. So I was watching Jenny from In My Spare Time Crochet, and she made Crochet Grove's little mini Brontos. And I thought, oh my gosh, those are really cute. I've been looking at her T-Rex pattern, but the more I look at it, the creepier the little teeth are to me. And I kind of really want that one. And if I got it, I would probably have to do it without the teeth. Just make it look like his mouth is closed without the teeth hanging out. Because the teeth just look creepy. We don't need any creepy dolls around here. So I bought the mini Bronto. And let me tell you, when she says mini, she means mini. She tells you to use Parfait Chunky, and I want to say a 4mm hook. And you're going to use like little 10mm eyes. And yeah, no. I started off with brights. And, you know, I've got this lady in my head telling me to use pink. So I made a pink Bronto. And I was like, wow, that really is small. When she says mini, she means mini. So she has you crochet a circle to make a spot. I just stitched it in. I think these are 12mm eyes. And, I mean, it's kind of cute. But I thought, let me try this again because I'm not sure. Only being at market will tell the real story. So I was like, let me do one out of Sweet Snuggles Light. So we did this one. And his little head looks like a peanut head. Like it came out smaller. And I counted my stitches and everything. But, yeah, I don't know what I did differently. But they are similar in size. I can't even imagine how tiny these would be in Parfait Chunky. They would be really tiny. And if you wanted a tiny one, that's fine. So this one, I put a 16mm sinker eye in. Gives it a little bit of a different look, but I swear his head looks like a little peanut head. So then I wanted to try one more. Because I was like, I don't know if I really like this or not. I know. So this time I pulled out some Big Twist Plush. I have a little bit of that left over. And looking at my colors, I was like, well, let's try this olive green. Now I tried taking a picture of it and it looked black in the picture, but I'm sure that was just the backlighting behind it. And it just, you know, made it look like a silhouette. So we did this one. Oh, see, now the green color shows up really nice in this lighting. And he got green eyes, 16mm. And his head looks more proportionate. It doesn't look like a peanut head. I must have made a mistake in the other one. So I didn't really have a color in the Big Twist to do the spots that would go with this green. So I just used the sage from the Brights to give it the couple of spots on there. And she does have you position the head. I mean, you can put the head any way you want. But all three of mine, the way they stand, it looks like the whole body and everything is turning. So he needed a turned head to make it look right. Like he's turning to look at you. Heard a noise out in the bushes, and he's turning his head to look at you and see what is going on. So this is, well, let's see. I did not do the comparison, size comparison thing for you guys. I am so sorry. The difference between Big Twist Plush and Chenille Brights. So there is a bit of a size difference. Let me show you. Oh, my goodness, I can't believe I did that. I thought I was covering all my bases, and I was not. So we have, next to the Coke can, and the one out of Sweet Snuggles with his little peanut head. Then one of the flowers, very big. A spider. A pug. The horse. I think that covers that part of it. So the very last thing I did, now, Tracy from Travel Crochet has been talking about Bluey. And in a few of her videos, she mentioned that she started using the same Bluey pattern that I use from Fennec Toys. And I kept thinking, is that where my pattern's from? So she was talking about it again last night because she's trying to write her own Bluey pattern because, you know, she hasn't been happy with what she's been finding. And she's doing pretty good. You guys might like her Bluey. So she mentioned it again, and I was like, I don't think that's who I use the pattern by. So I pull it up, and it is not. It is not the pattern I have. Now, I haven't made a Bluey in probably close to a year, if not longer, because I did not like how the eyes were coming out. They were just creepy. I do not like the crocheted eyes. They're creepy. Now, since I had the pattern open last night, I was like, let me just make one. And I can test out the oval eyes on it and see if it is something that will work. Well, it will work. The eyes will definitely work, but I made a mistake. I pulled up pictures, and I'm going to blame it on the new glasses. But I should have used yellow, and I didn't. I used like a beige color. But we're going to blame it on the glasses. So this should have been yellow, this should have been yellow, and I used beige. So in this pattern, I do make changes. I add a belly patch, I add eyebrows, and I do not crochet the ears on the top because it leaves a big ugly seam that I didn't care for. So I just sew the top of it closed, and then I sew the ears on. This is just, you know, centering or trying to find the center, which I'm a little off center on a few things here. But just first time I did it where I did the patch, I was an afterthought. So I just crocheted it and sewed it on. I probably should have done that this time, but I just tried crocheting it in just to be done with it. I hear the chickens. So yeah, sew the ears on. The pattern says to crochet it in. You sew the muzzle on. Tail is crocheted in. Arms are crocheted in. spots I just stitched on, like embroidered them on. I surface crocheted for the eyebrows, and then I just used my dies and cut out 2 ovals. And these eyes are so much less scary than the crocheted eyes. So I would definitely be fine with making bluey, but using yellow, not the beige, using these kind of eyes. So I would be perfectly fine with that. It's so much better. It doesn't look creepy. The crocheted eyes just look creepy to me. They just look creepy. And this pattern, I didn't even check to see if it's still available because I bought it so long ago, was from Rainbow Door Shop. And if it is still available, of course, I'll link it for you. But I don't know, because like I said, this was well over a year ago I bought this pattern. And it actually comes out a nice size using the brights. When I used Parfait Chunky with it before, it was very small. So this is a good size. Let's do size. Turns out a nice size with the chenille brights. And I did yarn over with this one. So, and how do I know? See my stitches on that. And, oh, let me get a different yarn so you can see it. My stitches on that. There is a distinct difference in the stitch. Yarn under, yarn over. And I can switch back and forth. It doesn't bother me to do that. So then we did bluey. So a lot of people influenced me this week. Christine influenced me to do the sunflower. Jenny influenced me to do the dinosaurs. We'll say John and Heather influenced me to do the spiders. Tracy influenced me to do the bluey. And the pug was just something I wanted to do. And then, of course, the horse was, I was helping Tracy, oh my goodness, Stacy. I was helping Stacy with her pre-testing for her patterns. So, I have been influenced. Anyways, that is all I have today. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. And we will see you on Wednesday.